What's up, everyone? This is Zach, aka Keats39, here to break down another NBA slate. Hopefully there's no technical difficulties this time. We're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. First game, we have Miami and Milwaukee. I have a lot of interest in this game, actually. First look, you got Jimmy Butler's out once again, and Goran Dragic is questionable, and I'm not expecting him to play this one. He got hurt really late in that last game, so I don't think he's going to suit up, which I would prefer. Uh, let's just go over if he were to sit. Obviously, Bam Adebayo, always a solid play. Don't really love him in this matchup, but he's too cheap for his production that he can give you. So perfectly fine with him. Going down, Kelly Olynyk has been fantastic since entering the bubble. Started last game for Butler, had a slate-breaking game, really, over 40 DraftKings points. Matchup, not really ideal. He'll be with Giannis, probably. Don't really love that too much, but so I won't really have much of him, but I can't really blame anyone for playing him. Going down, Kendrick Nunn is someone who I will have a lot of interest in if Goran Dragic is not to play. I think Nunn is kind of blowout proof, which I think this game has the possibility to get there. But we saw during the year he had some monster games. If there's no Dragic, I'd like to think he'd probably get over 30 minutes, which minutes is what's been struggling for him, as well as his shot. Yeah, he'd be one of my top plays on the slate if Dragic were to sit. Another guy that's going to go under the radar a little bit is Andre Iguodala. He played 31 minutes last game and had a really, really solid game with Butler out. And if Dragic were to sit, he's going to get pretty much all point guard duties with the second unit. And if the game stays close, he's going to push over 30 minutes again. And I expect most people to pivot or go up to Tyler Hero, which I'm a huge fan of his, but he's kind of more scoring reliant. So not really. I think I personally would prefer Andre Iguodala there. No issue with Hero. Yeah, he's probably a little safer considering a blowout. He probably still gets run, but I think I think Hero's going to be a lot more owned than Iguodala, and it should not be the case at all. Jay Crowder's really cheap. I have no issue with him. Probably won't have much of him just because I like the other two value plays a little more, but Crowder's probably the better play or the better point per dollar or pure points play, as I would rather prefer the other two for points per dollar. Then to round them out, Duncan Robinson always has a chance to hit 8 or 9 threes. Not my type of play though. On the other side, the Bucks they're really tough to trust right now. We saw they just lost to Brooklyn Nets without their 3 best players left in the bubble. They benched Giannis and Chris Milton at halftime, which it makes a lot of sense considering they've locked up the 1 seed. I'll never knock anyone for playing Giannis. Honestly, he's probably, if he were to get 30 minutes, he'd be the best stud on the slate. Just don't. It's really hard to trust though. Then switch over to Chris Milton. I hardly ever play him unless Giannis is out, especially at the inflated price tag. So not much interest there. Brook Lopez is questionable again. Not much interest in him either. He's going to be with Bam Adebayo, a really good defender, but he does have a chance to hit a bunch of threes. Eric Bledsoe, if we get word that he is going to get normal minutes, I'll have some interest in it because he's really cheap. But outside of that, I don't expect him to get that type of run. So not really much interest there either. So that's about it for the first game. More interested in the Miami Heat in this one than the Milwaukee Bucks, really. Second game, I think I really like this game as well. You got the Pacers and the Suns. the slate's really going to be about what are you going to do with T.J. Warren. It's really hard for me to pay that much for him. I might end up doing it. Ask me at 355, and I'll have my answer. Probably not until then I'll have an answer. Especially you got like guys like Russell Westbrook, $600 more than T.J. Warren. It's like, come on, am I really going to do that? But I may, because this dude's been the best player in the bubble by a country mile. Shooting the ball terrifically, racking up blocks, racking up steals. He's really been really good. And he gets a pretty good matchup against the Suns, which is a revenge game. Really not surprised by T.J. Warren doing this because he was a walking bucket in college, if anyone watched him. But it's going to take a lot for him to get value. But he gets a match with Cam Johnson. I'm not afraid of Cam Johnson or Dario Saric whenever he comes out. And Warren's getting 40 minutes a game, so it's like he does have a floor. Yes, but Brogdon, questionable once again for the same reason that he missed a bunch of games for. That he's been questionable for the whole thing. Missed like 2, I think. Don't really have interest in him at that price point, but if he were to be ruled out, I get a lot of interest for Aaron Holliday and Victor Oladipo. Both fairly priced. Not guys I'm going to build around, but I've talked to Gator about this. I really like when Aaron Holiday is playing the point guard. Assist numbers go way up, usage goes way up. Victor Oladipo, he's playing really good basketball for the first time all year. So I do have a fair amount of interest in him I believe he's 5.5K. Then go over to Miles Turner. He's, regardless, one of my favorite plays on the slate. I'm going to keep playing him because without Sabonis, he's a beast. He really hasn't shown that huge ceiling game, but I think it's a very possible outcome against DeAndre Ayton. On the other side, I think Ayton's a solid player, but not a very great defender, and I expect the Pacers to really utilize the pick and pop with either point guard / Oladipo and Miles Turner. So I could really see the breakout game coming here, and I'm going to have a lot of exposure to him. Outside of that, not really interested in any of the Pacers. On the other side, a lot of interest in the Suns too, actually. Devon Booker is playing really good basketball, getting really high usage. So he just destroyed probably the 2 best wing defenders in the league, or 2 of the best, in Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. He's clearly a game winner on poor Paul George's head for like the 30th time in his career. But not really scared of Indiana's defense like I once was this year. As we saw last game, they put up points, and without Sabonis, they play a lot faster. It seems. I have to check the numbers, but really, like T.J. Warren, they're just jacking up shots, good up and down the court. It's a lot better than what you're used to from the Pacers. DeAndre Ayton, another one of my top plays on the slate. Miles Turner is like known for a good defender, but it's like kind of like the whole Hassan Whiteside thing where he blocks a lot of shots, so he gets more credit for his defense than he probably should. I'm not really afraid of him. Plus, NBA, there's a lot of switching for those of you that don't get to watch that much. And with no Sabonis and T.J. Warren at the 4, anytime they switch, it's going to be a free basket for DeAndre Ayton, as he's just a bully in the paint. So I kind of expect another big game from him. And he's priced way down. He's had a couple tough matchups. I've played him every slate just because I think he's that good, and he's getting really good minutes. But I think this is finally going to be one that you see one of those big games from him as well. Ricky Rubio, he's been playing really good basketball all year. 6.6, very fair price point. I won't build around him, but if he finishes my lineup, I have no issues with that at all. I'm not going to even think twice about it. I'm just going to play him. Especially if Malcolm Brogdon's out. Brogdon's a really good defender. Aaron Holiday, not that afraid of him. And so Ricky Rubio, when he's scoring the ball, he can really get you a lot of points. Outside that, don't have too much interest. Bridges and Cam Johnson are in play, but neither of those guys really have that high of a ceiling. We saw Cam Johnson probably hit his ceiling the other day, and don't really expect that out of him again. But he's been playing. He's been getting good, really high minutes, and he's played good. So 4.9, you can definitely do worse. Don't have much issue with that at all. On to the Clippers and Mavericks. Luka Doncic. I said T.J. Warren's probably playing the best basketball, but that's just kind of for that surprising thing. Luka Doncic just playing the best basketball in the bubble. He's having just monster game after monster game. Finally priced up a little bit better, but even at that price point, I have probably my top stud overall. It's gonna be hard to get to him, but if you can get to him, I probably would. Mavericks are in must win. Really not. They don't have to win to make the playoffs, but you don't really want to face those top couple teams. So to get out of those guys, they're really playing their guys a lot of minutes. Luka's been seeing around 40 every night. So yeah, even tough matchup against Kawhi and Paul George, but not too nervous about that as he gets lots of screens and those guys play do a lot of work on offense, so don't really see them playing too hard on defense. But yeah, then to Porzingis, I think this is a great matchup for him. They really don't have someone who matches up with Kristaps. Maybe Kawhi could give him havoc, but Porzingis is just so big and so different than most players in the league. 8.5, very fair price. It's going to be tough for me to get to him just because I like a couple other centers more, but he's solid. Tim Hardaway Jr., GPP play just because he's very score reliant, but he has been scoring, so can't really knock him too much. Dorian Finney-Smith, we saw put a big game. I really don't expect that from him again. At that price, I won't have any of him. He had a monster game once Porzingis fouled out in his 26 minutes. He just got every rebound. I was watching that game. But unless something crazy like that happens, I really don't want any of him. And then I think you can go back down to Trey Burke. He really, honestly, screwed us last slate. It could have been a monster slate, but Maverick, there's a couple crazy news, including this one with the Mavericks, where Trey Burke was listed starter, and then after the game lock, they randomly started J.J. Barea for God knows what reason. He got toasted every time. But not that Trey Burke's a better defender, but he's just a way superior scorer, which they could have used. But if I have a feeling he's going to get a start here, but if he doesn't, I don't have much interest in him because there's other value plays out there. But he is. If he were to start, I'd have some interest. Over to the Clippers. I think that Kawhi Leonard's finally getting back to a price point where you can play him. He's jacking up shots, getting minutes. Lube Wilbeck does hurt, but still he's the best player on the team. He's gonna get all the usage he wants. Paul George, very in play as well. I probably won't have much of him just because he just doesn't do enough right now. He's kind of been conceding. If he's really relying on hitting the 3-ball right now, is he 6 rebounds, 3 rebounds, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 assist, 3 assists? It's really tough to play someone at that price with those kind of floor numbers. There's no Pat Bev, so definitely have some interest in Lou Will. No interest in Reggie Jackson. He's priced up to 5.8. I won't have any of him. But Lou Will, if we get noted that he's going to get some minute, up to 25 to 30 minutes, $5K is way too cheap for him for the upside he has. So he wouldn't be a must because he's still going to be third in line, but definitely a high floor play at that 5K range. Portland, Denver. I think this is going to be a slate deciding game. really torn on it for a few reasons. Denver on a back-to-back really kind of scares me more than it probably will for other people. Michael Porter Jr., probably the best player on the slate if you told me he's going to get 30-plus minutes. But I'm kind of nervous about that with his injury history on a back-to-back. Portland's in a must-win game, so I could really see them just kind of blowing them out. I don't really like the matchup for Denver here, but if they were, it's going to be a shootout if it does stay close. So I have a lot of interest in this if it stays close. I'm probably going to play Porter. Just might be really mad after because I'll think about this what I'm saying right now and say, yeah, it makes so much sense that he didn't get too much run. But Jokic, always a great play. He's going against Nurkic, a former teammate. We've seen Jokic have both monster games and really bad games against Nurkic. It's really hard to judge. His price is fine, so I'm probably gonna have a decent share of him. But it's just a weird matchup. If he gets his minutes, though, he only had 5 rebounds yesterday, I think, and scored 50 DK points. Yeah, 4 rebounds and 50 DK points. So the fact that he's able to do that just shows the type of floor he has. With all the guys out, it's really he's been really more assertive or not assertive, really shooting the ball more and playing a lot of straight up point guard. He literally will bring the ball up the court instead of getting the ball in the post. So a lot of interest in those two. Another guy I have a lot of interest in is Monte Morris. He's been really good, really solid. He's a really solid player. Honestly, one of my favorite bench point guards in the league. He's just really consistent and kind of always gets the job done. But his last 3 games are 35 minutes, 29 minutes, and 28 minutes. Obviously, if Jamal Murray's in, he's not really a play at all. But if he's out again, those kind of minutes, and he's hit 6x at his DK price, 2 straight 5x in the other one. So really, and not scared of the Trailblazers defense at all. So would have a lot of interest there. Paul Millsap, had a lot of him yesterday. He played really well, but only got like 17 minutes, so that kind of sucked. Tory Craig, I don't really have much interest in him in DK, but Showdown, I'll have some interest, as I think that this is going to be a heavy minute game for Tory Craig. He's going to be used as the Dame stopper here, and I really expect a lot of that. Like, I'd probably expect 35 minutes as the last. Like, yesterday, he played 30, but wasn't even needed that much because the guards I like the guards for San Antonio a lot, but you don't have those killers like Dame. Miami, he didn't have to play that much. OKC, he didn't play that much because SGA is a good scorer, but he's not a killer as well. So I'd expect a lot of minutes out of Tory Craig today. And then finally, more of a play if Dragic were to play and the other guard punts went away. But PJ Dozier, he got 26 minutes yesterday and had 31 DK. Excuse me. He's just a really solid player. Doesn't do too much, but especially if he's coming off the bench running the point again, it's 8 assists. He also got up 8 shots. Against the Trailblazers bench that likes to run a lot. Definitely have interest there. But that's more of like I said, if the Heat players are out or in. Other side of the ball, Nurkic been so good he's always been so good, but even more so since the startup. He gets a revenge game, and he's had some really big games. He's kind of the same way as Jokic. He's had some monster games against Jokic, and some really not so good ones. It's going to be hard for me to play him at 8.9 because I think he's kind of like on a minutes, not a limit, but with all the other good bigs that they haven't really been unloading him. Plus, he's been in foul trouble a fair share of times against Jokic too, which is also frightening. He almost fouled out of the game the other day too. But he's been so good, so definitely in play. Dame Lillard, kind of off of him, but he has, in these must-wins, he's been playing over 40 minutes, so definitely is some interest. But like I said, I think Tory Craig's going to be on him, and they'll have Monte Morris on CJ McCollum. So kind of hurts him. As me and Garrett talked, that Tory Craig, I think, is probably the most underrated defender in the league. He comes in and stops studs all the time. So don't really like him. Or CJ is priced at 7.9. Don't really like him anytime he's priced above like 6.5. So pass there for me. Melo, revenge game as well. Revenge. But he's been playing a lot of minutes, getting a lot of shots up. Rebounding better than I expected with Nurkic back, especially Nurkic and Collins. So it's really tough for me to play him, but I will have no issues for anyone that does. Zach Collins in play at 4.3, but he hasn't had really a big game yet. He's fifth in line for scoring. It's really tough for him with a bunch of dudes that just want to shoot. And that's about all from that game. And then a tough game to break down, really, really tough actually, is the Lakers-Rockets, which like obviously could really shoot out. But got Russell Westbrook questionable. He's only 9K, which really makes it tough because I really like him in this spot and the price. But with being questionable and being the last game on the slate, it's kind of like, do I really want to take the chance on that? So we'll see. Hopefully we get some more news. If he were to be out, I'll lock James Harden everywhere, as you should every time the Russell Westbrook misses. Harden in play again. Don't like him as much as I like Russ, as like I usually do. But price down a little bit. His rebounding and assist numbers have been really solid so far, like averaging pretty much 8 assists, 8 rebounds, along with his 500 points a game and 30 shots. So, yeah, like him a fair share. Other guys, Daniel House has been really good. I'll continue to play him. He's getting 35, 31, 43 minutes. He's just a really solid player. With all this stretch ball, the small ball they play, does a lot of when you play with James Harden and Russell Westbrook, you're going to get a lot of open looks. So he's been doing that, and he's been hitting them a lot, like averaging 10 threes a game for 4.9K. That's really, really nice. Robert Covington, I've seen a fair share of big games, fair share of dud games from him. 6.5, I really hate paying for him. Have no issues for people that do, just not the biggest fan of paying that price, because he's really relying on hitting his three, and he has some games where he really can't even come close to hitting. Jeff Green and PJ Tucker also both have some interest for me. PJ Tucker, kind of like a low floor, or high floor, low ceiling type of guy. 4.2, you can definitely do worse. I don't like the matchup for him at all, but if you need the value, I understand playing him. Jeff Green put up like 15 shots last game out of nowhere. It really threw me off. Played 28 minutes. I could see him having a solid game here. I think he's a better player than PJ Tucker. Tucker, I think, will be more important for this game because of the defense he brings to the table. Last game, Jeff Green got to play more because of the Nurkic foul trouble. I think that helped him some. But he's hit 5x in 3 straight, even in 20 and 22 minutes, so really can't blame anyone for going that route. On the other side, the Lakers are really a mess. Me and Gabe were talking. We wouldn't be surprised if they didn't play the second half of the game or something like that because they have the 1 seed locked up. They're on a back-to-back. It's just not an ideal situation for your players, especially being in the last game. I probably won't take any risk. LeBron and AD both, I think, have high ceilings if they were to really unload them again. don't really expect that, but it's very it's on the table, obviously. And with how fast this game and how small this game is, they both have AD more so than LeBron. Because they have 0 players that have a chance to match up with AD. He can do whatever he wants with any single one of them. Kyle Kuzma has some interest for me. He kind of burned me a little bit yesterday. He's in my best lineup and really sucked. But getting shots, the last 2 games he has not actually gotten shots. Not rebounding at all. So more I look at it, I really don't have any interest in him. Dion Waiters, I guess he brings some interest in me. He's been 5x in 3 out of the 4 games. Minutes have been low 20s. Don't really have any interest if the Heat guys if Dragic is ruled in, but if he's ruled in, then I'll have interest in Waiters because value's a little smaller. But really outside of that, I don't see much. He doesn't really have much of a ceiling because unless it blows out and he gets some minutes or they rest other guys, then I could definitely see it. JaVale McGee went up to 22 minutes yesterday with no Dwight. More than usual. Doesn't have much of a ceiling unless he gets to 25-30 minute range. Against Houston, I don't see that happening. But he's worth noting. Danny Green at 3.2. I guess another playable punt. I hate playing this dude too, though. He had 21 yesterday. That's his best game of the bubble. So he can hit 5 or 6 threes and hit value for you and actually get way more than value. But unless that happens, you're going to see 20 minutes out of him, just like every other wing guy they have. So, yeah, that's about it for the slate. Hopefully this video works this time. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully see you guys tomorrow for some more.